Waiver Wire Winners. These are players rostered in under 50% of sleeper leagues to consider adding for Week 13. Second game above 24 fantasy points. Zay Jones caught 11 of his 14 targets for 145 receiving yards. He has a connection with Trevor Lawrence. 24 total targets the last 2 games and his fourth of double digits. Isaiah McKenzie had a huge Week 12. He had 10 targets, 96 receiving yards, a touchdown. Josh Allen has a history of using a slot wide receiver, and if he has a consistent role, he could be a good flex value. 10, 7, and 9 targets for Nico Collins the last 3 weeks. He drew the most targets with Kyle Allen as the new quarterback. He has ability for some bigger yardage plays, so at volume he could be a flex. Kyron Williams had 14 touches to Cam Akers' 8 in Week 12. It's getting ugly in LA, but in all honesty, having a pass-catching running back trending up is going to be useful for managers that are thin at running back. Both Matt Collins and Foster Moreau are beneficiaries of Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow being on the IR. Extended roles, Matt Collins had 16.3 fantasy points in Week 12. Foster Moreau saw 7 targets. Richie James for the Giants has had over 13 fantasy points and 40 receiving yards back-to-back weeks. He scored a touchdown in both of those games. Down week in Week 12 for Darius Slayton. He's had 16 targets, though, across his last 2 games. 5 weeks this season, over 60 receiving yards with 4 straight. Deeper leagues is Richie James. I prefer Darius Slayton. Najee Harris left Week 12 with an abdominal injury. Benny Snell led the way, but Jaylen Warren, if he is back, I prefer if Najee Harris is out. Warren has shown some rushing efficiency and has had 3 weeks on limited touches over 10 fantasy points, pending he's back. New York Jets backfield situation is a little murky to me. Michael Carter sustained a low ankle sprain, but he is day-to-day. James Robinson was a healthy scratch. Zonovan Knight, basically unrostered, had 48% of the snaps and 12.3 fantasy points. Ty Johnson scored a touchdown. Zonovan Knight right now is projected the most, but it's a really questionable situation. Same goes with the Jacksonville backfield. JaMychal Hasty came in for an injured Travis Etienne and had a great fantasy week with 20.5 points. Etienne might be okay at the end of the day, and Darrell Henderson just joined the team, so another weird situation. Feel free to pause, but here are some players I feel like are worth stashing if you have room on your benches, depending on what you are needing. Outside of Hasty and Knight, I feel like you can sneak a lot of these guys into your lineups.